Hello, Internet people. Today I wanted to go through some of the final tuning work that I did on a track that I first created earlier in the year called My Cat Hates My Guts. And there's there's a video I posted of the song already on my YouTube channel. That video had just Gumi singing the melody, and the two guitars, bass, and the drums. But I wanted to tweak some things about it and add in harmony. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, the changes I made. Just as a refresher, this song is 150 beats per minute. It's in the key of D major. So there are two sharps. There's C sharp and F sharp in the key of D major. And that's something you just always keep in mind when you're working in a song, what the key is, so you know what notes you can use for the melody. That's kind of why a lot of times I like working in C major, because you don't have to worry about sharps and flats. It's all the white keys. This makes it easier. So the first thing I did trying to tweak this song was that I wanted to add some shouts, and you can see I did that here. But you know what? I'm going to take them out because I don't like the way they sound. And let me just give you a playthrough here how that came out. It's supposed to be going hey, 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 but it doesn't sound real. I mean, I know they're Vocaloids and they're not truly human sounding anyway, but it especially doesn't sound real to me. I'm not crazy about it. But basically I have, hey, and then add that extension to make it drop in pitch. Now, if you notice, I have it overlapping. In the previous editor that I used, Vocaloid 3, you were not allowed to overlap notes. Here you can do it, but I have not been able to find an official explanation as to what it's doing. My guess is that it blends in the two sounds and makes for a smoother transition. And you can see if I separate the notes so that it does not overlap, you can see the pitch curve change. See how it changes? And it does affect the sound because before it's like this. Oh, actually you can't hear it because you get too much background going on. But let me do this way. Do you hear it? It's very slight between this note and these notes. And again, my guess is that it smooths out the curve, the pitch curve. The other thing you can tell is if I just click on it, you hear the note without any effects. And the effect that I use is that growly, one of the growly settings, because I wanted to imitate a shout. But like I said, I'm not happy with the sound. It just sounds too fake. So I don't think I'm going to use it. The other change I made is in the vocal style setting. Before, and I can't even remember exactly which one I used, but it had a slightly airy sound to Gumi's voice, so I changed it. I chose the power punk style, and I thought that fit better for this. The goal of this song was always to imitate some kind of a Japanese power punk, kind of like a Shonen Knife vibe. I wish I had the Gumi voice bank. I wish I had the Miku voice bank, because Miku has a distinct Japanese accent. Gumi has a little bit of an accent, but Miku has more of an accent, and I wanted that to show through, but I don't have that. Krypton, you might know already, they're moving away from the Vocaloid Editor, which makes sense. They have the Pre-Pro Studio. and they want to do their own thing, which makes me think that maybe I should go ahead and buy the Miku voice bank now. I'm afraid in the future I won't even be able to use it in the Vocaloid editor. I don't know if that's gonna happen. My worry is that we have so many of these different voice synthesizers. On the one hand, it's great that people have options, especially since some of these programs are kind of expensive. But if you have different options, maybe it'll drive the price down. There's also a couple of free options. But my worry is that the field will get so fractured because I don't want to be using 5 different vocal editing software. I prefer to just stick with one, and that's just using the Vocaloid 5 editor. But anyway, you can see from the pitch line it's very smooth, and I like that for the song. Very smooth and powerful and clear. You can hear in the background I'm still using my scratch track, which has me singing very horribly, by the way. I don't do that anymore. Nowadays, I just use a scratch track of just the guitars and the drums. I do not sing along so that I have a template to put in the melody. It's gone to the point where I can hear the melody in my head and I can just draw in the notes directly. It goes much faster that way. I don't have to take the time to make a vocal scratch track in my digital audio workstation. And that's what you're hearing.
My cat, she hates my guts. When I sleep, she wet my butt. She picks my clothes and make them stink.
Maybe it's because I already know what the lyrics are, but it's in that lyric right here.
Stink.
Stink. I love how it's very clear in the other style that I picked, which was more airy and breathy. You couldn't really make that out. But I really love how that really comes through here. I like this style. The other change I did was add the harmony. And I use Avanna. I tend to use Avanna with Gumi in the songs. But you can hear the harmony parts here.
Then took a dump in the kitchen sink. But I always love my cat. She's really good at killing rats. The rules of home are understood. I give her food and it's so good.
Now, how do I do the harmony? I did a video actually of how to do harmony earlier, where I explained the basics. You might want to check that out. But basically, to recap, the easiest thing to start out with harmony is simply to do it in thirds. And you can start out with doing the harmony line all above or all below the melody, just to start it out. After a while, you'll want to change that because it gets boring real quick if your entire harmony is just a third above or a third below. And when I say a third, like for instance, a C major chord. What are the notes in a C major chord? C, E, and G. Those are thirds. The notes C, E, and G. They make up a chord. Well, when you do harmony, you could use thirds. And that's why chords sound so good. They work together, that interval, the third. So if you have a note, the C, if your melody has a C note, then you could put in a harmony in the E note or the G note. It'll work. Like I said, after a while, you'll begin to hear your own harmonies in your head. And sometimes you want to go up, sometimes you want to go down from the melody. Sometimes you want, for instance, if you have a melody that's climbing, you might want to show some kind of contrast. and have it go down your harmony. The only thing I can say is experiment, but the more you do it, the more you hear the harmony in your head, and you'll know which note that you want, and you won't have to rely on, oh, I have to go in thirds for all of them. But if you're just starting out in harmony, that's to me, I think that's the simplest way. Just to start as a basis, use thirds. The other nice thing about the Vocaloid Editor is that when you're putting in the harmony, you could see what the other, you could see what the melody is. You just highlight both tracks. This is the harmony. But if I hit the Control key and then click on Gumi's melody, you'll see it pops up here. So that makes it really easy for you to lay over the harmony. If you want to go above it, as you can see, I'm above it here, below. Then I shoot way up here and below, and then above again. I mix it up. I tend to mix it up these days.
But I always love my cat.
You hear the melody here.
But I always love my cat.
And you hear the harmony.
But I always love my cat. But I always love my cat.
And I don't think I added anything else to it. Yeah, I did not add, I didn't make it longer by adding another verse or anything like that. I have a tendency to write short songs because I can't stand writing lyrics. So I make it as short as possible. The only other thing I want to say with this final song, the final mixdown, is that when I do the harmony, I like to add the harmony just in the last part of the verse, and then have the harmony for the entire chorus. And what I mean is, you hear the melody here.
My cat, she hate my guts. When she found me, I was down on my luck. I know she always has my back. I can show you where her clothes left tracks.
So I'll add a harmony part right at the end part of the verse. I won't do the whole thing. So you can hear how that sounds.
My cat, she hate my guts. When she found me, I was down on my luck. I know she always has my back. I can show you where her clothes left tracks.
Or sometimes I alternate. I'll have harmony on this second section and on the fourth section. But I really don't do harmony for the entire verse. You could do that if you're actually doing a duet. That makes sense. But if you're not doing a duet, it's just too much to do it all for the entire verse. Just do it for the chorus. So that's about what I did, and the only thing I did was export the 2 tracks and import it in the DAW, which I did do some final mixing. Not too much though. I just swapped some plugins around, and you could hear it right here. So here's the final track with the little tweaks I did in the mix. Not too much, just some minor adjustments, and I also changed some of the plugins.
My cat, she hate my guts. When I sleep, she got my butt. She picked my clothes and made them stink. Then took out them in the kitchen sink. But I always love my cat. She's very good at killing rats. There is was left to trust. But I always loved my cat. She's very good at killing rats. There is a poem understood. I give her food and it's so good.
So there you have it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. By the way, I do have a Patreon page. You don't have to join. I don't recommend that you join, but it's out there, and I put in every month I do a project, and I upload the Vocaloid files, the stems from the DAW mix, and everything I do there, I release under the Creative Commons license, so you're free to download and use whatever you want. You just have to give attribution as per the Creative Commons license, but you're free to do whatever you want with them. Anyway, so see you next time.